8:12 now, continuing coverage of Election Day here on WCNC Plus. The polls opened at 6:30 this morning. On the ballot, a 1-cent sales tax that would pay for transit projects for decades to come.
Somebody who knows the issue better than most, Julie Eiselt, former mayor pro tem, also the chair of the city's Transportation and Planning Commission when she was on council. She joins us live this morning. Julie, good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Good morning, Ben. Thanks for having me.
I don't have to tell you this. You sort of helped create what was one of the original versions of this transit plan. You were on council at the time. Now you get to see other council members hopefully take it across the finish line from your point of view. Are you optimistic this thing's going to pass?
I'm hopeful it's going to pass. It's a big change in the way we think in Charlotte about transportation. It's a huge plan. It's complicated. I know there's people that I have respect for that are in opposition to it, and I've heard a lot of opposition. I've also heard a lot of support for it, because at the end of the day, nothing is not a good outcome given the traffic and the growth of our city.
So you said it, huge, complicated. Let's talk more about those critics. Folks on the left say that this plan doesn't go far enough. We're talking about 30 years down the road. We know the population of the area is expected to grow tremendously. On the right, though, people are pointing to crime issues on transit. We know two things can be true. Are these people wrong?
No, they're not wrong. Perception is reality. But the fact of the matter is that there's things that could be done now and need to be done. And that is separate from this transit bill. Absolutely, should the bill pass, we need to step it up even more. I do think, and I have said this for years, that we have got to have fair enforcement on our trains in particular. But some of the issues that we have on buses too. And we have them on the streets. And so those are issues that have to be addressed separately, in my opinion, than the growth of transit.
So we know that if this tax passes, there's going to be a transit authority that will govern the projects going forward. What can that authority do to make sure that they are, one, building trust, okay, and to make sure that these projects are done on time and, importantly, on budget?
That's always a big question when you're talking about a 30-year project. I think personally, there's two things that need to happen. They need to focus, the authority needs to focus on building trust. If this transit bill does not pass, I believe that it's because there's a trust issue. That's going to be there regardless of new money for transportation or not. And that's something that needs to be addressed. And so I think that's one thing. Secondly, I'm excited about it because of the investment in, frankly, the things that aren't very sexy. Buses. I have been pushing that for a long time. Buses are not a nice to have thing. Buses are a necessity for people that live in Charlotte with the rising cost of living here, and the fact that the Charlotte region is about 7 points above average for the cost of transportation than where we should be compared to national data. And that's because we're so car centric, and it's just getting worse.
We talked about crime briefly. I want to go back to it, though, because public safety is why you got into politics in the first place. You were a victim of crime, I think now almost 20 years ago. You were held at gunpoint. I know it had a profound impact on you. CMPD says violent crime is down. Do you think that's the case, or is this in fact just a perception problem here in the city?
Well, I think, and to your point, it's a perception problem. It doesn't matter what the statistics are if you've been the victim of a crime. It feels awful. It feels like your community doesn't care. And again, what happened to me was a random act of violence. A guy tried to abduct me at gunpoint in a very public parking lot. There was security in the parking lot. They waited for the opportunity, and that can happen. That's got to be addressed as a community safety issue. And yes, there are things we can do in our transit system to make it more comfortable for people to ride transit and feel like they're going to get to where they need to go safely.
Finally, this year, City Council saw its fair share of controversies. I don't have to tell you this. One council member accusing others of corruption. That investigation found no unethical behavior. Another council member facing federal charges. What is your message to voters heading to the polls this morning, feeling a little discouraged about their city leadership?
Well, Ben, honestly, that's, in part on voters too. We have a great turnout this year. Turnout is up overall by 73% in early voting, which is great. But generally, we're talking single digits when it comes to voting in the primary. And the primary is where the decisions are made. So people need to look into who they're voting for, who shows up to meetings, how do they vote, what are their values, and we need to hold our elected officials accountable. This is something that is still a part of our American system. We have the right and the privilege to vote, and we need to know who we're voting for and then hold them accountable to represent us.
I remember interviewing you many times, probably back to 2019, 2021, asking when this transit thing is finally going to happen. Well, here we are on this day, November 4th. It's actually on the ballot. Still don't know what's going to happen, but the city is at least making progress in the right direction. Julie Eiselt, always nice to talk to you.
Thanks,
for
Ben.
joining
Thanks for
us.
having me.
All right, take care.